So this week, Hotfix 2.5.2 was deployed to Destiny, bringing a bunch of balance and sandbox changes to the game. However, inside of the patch, there were some unintended changes which applied to health regen perks across the board due to a change in Hungering Blade. So this is things like casting Ward of Dawn, Embrace the Void for a Warlock, Red Death's health regeneration perks, Transfusion, Quarterize, essentially anything that deals with health regeneration on kills was affected due to this change to Hungering Blade. So Bungie actually came out yesterday with a forum post from Cosmo and Josh Hamrick, who is of course one of the sandbox designers leading these balance changes, and they actually directly addressed this issue. There are going to be some changes which we'll talk about, but we did have a bit of a justification from Josh Hamrick as to why these changes are not necessarily a bad thing in the current shape of the Crucible. So he says, having an enemy's ability or attack be able to completely erase any progress you've made and completely reset an encounter feels bad. Also, when one-hit kill weapons are less dominant, those abilities and attacks become more dominant as they are much harder to stop. This change allows those abilities and attacks to still recover large portions of health and buy themselves more time without completely resetting the encounter and negating all cumulative damage that had come before. And when you think about it, it does make sense. You know, a lot of the high damage one-hit kill weapons, shotguns in particular, are considerably less dominant in the game right now. And whenever you're dealing with an enemy target having some kind of health regeneration, whether it's through a primary weapon or a super ability, that is very much a different thing when you're fighting with, you know, primary weapons more than anything else. So the justification does make sense, but there are going to be a series of changes. So they said this: we have watched and listened all week, and this is the current plan moving forward. They do give us some numbers here. Of course, these numbers may change, but they say for each of the elements below, we are going to keep the change, but buff the amount of health you get back to 58%. So that's an improvement on what it currently is, and that applies to Hungering Blade. So essentially, Blade Dancer is being buffed back up a little bit. It also applies to Red Death and Lifesteal on the Warlock. Also, Transfusion and Quarterize for Striker Titans and Sunbreakers respectively. They will also earn 58% of their health back, but they are completely removing the cooldown. So for example, if you're running Quarterize on hammers, every time you throw a hammer, you will be able to regenerate health if applicable. So these are definitely welcomed changes, but for Suros Regime, no backup plans, Ward of Dawn cast, Apotheosis Veil, and Embrace the Void, the change is being entirely reverted. So those 5 things I've just listed there will no longer suffer in any way from this health regeneration change, which is definitely good. So Bungie say they don't have a date for these changes, but they're currently working on them and conducting tests. It's early in the process, so these things are subject to change, but for now, this is the plan, and they're going to give us more details about when we can expect to see these changes. I think these health regeneration changes are good, but to tap onto the end of this list, I have a couple of other things which I think, you know, people would like to see change. So firstly, sidearm ammo. I don't think you should be able to stack sidearm ammo, even if you're going to respawn with it every time, and that's what they want to do. Definitely the ability to stack the ammo is just not necessary right now. Another idea which has been circulating in the community has been that perhaps special weapons should automatically reload their magazine when you pick up a special box, just to kind of improve the pace. So you're not looking for special, picking it up, then slowly reloading. You know, you find it, you pick it up, and just like heavy ammo, for example, your magazine is filled. I think that would be a good change as well. It would just kind of reduce that downtime, reduce some of the frustration perhaps that players feel, you know, in having to look for this special ammo. Those are just a couple of changes to the special economy, which I think could put it into a little bit of a better place for now. It's great that Bungie are talking to us about this though. You know, the conversation isn't over, which is definitely a good thing. I think the Bungie need to act as quickly as possible to kind of ensure people that they do care about this stuff and that they're working for the best possible environment in PvP that they can. Before we finish the video though, I just wanted to share with you guys some stats from Trials of Osiris this week on Black Shield. So if we take a look at weapon usage so far, we get some pretty interesting numbers. For the primary weapons, auto rifle kills account for 13.7%, hand cannons account for 38.2%, which is the most popular primary weapon currently in Trials, which is interesting as well because Black Shield has some quite long lines of sight. There is 26% usage of pulse rifles right there and 22.8% for scout rifles as well. So it seems fairly varied actually. you know, 38% for hand cannons. Hand cannons are definitely popular, but those numbers, you know, aren't too shocking right there. Moving on to the special though, and we see some much more interesting numbers. So fusion rifles, 0.89% of all kills inside of trials this week with fusion rifles, man. That makes me a little bit sad. 3.13% with shotguns right there, so definitely a massive change to those shotguns. But look, sidearm, 52.8% of all special kills inside of trials are with sidearms, and that's up 50% as well. And you know, we're down like minus 45% on shotguns right there, so really interesting. Still quite a few snipers though, which does make sense. Black Shield is a very good sniping map on the whole, and we're seeing roughly 43% sniper use. If we look at some of the most popular weapons this week, we have No Land Beyond with 11.3% of kills, the Palindrome with 6.3%, and Mitre Multitool with 6.1% of kills right there. The Wormwood has 14% of all of the kills inside of trials, so Wormwoods, man, are shredding things up inside of PvP right now. And then Icebreaker at 7.5% usage, which doesn't seem like a lot, but is actually quite a lot for the Icebreaker. I bet, you know, if you compare that to other weeks, definitely a big difference, obviously because of the ammo regeneration, and also Trespasser there as well, pretty popular. So very interesting to see these stats this week, and it definitely reflects on, you know, what we've been seeing over the past week or so inside of the Crucible. So I wanted to share that with you guys anyway, and I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on all of this in the comments section below. But I just wanted to bring you that news, so if you have enjoyed the video, guys, a like is always appreciated. Let me know your thoughts down below about the changes coming from Bungie soon, or how you feel about Crucible in general. For now though, thanks a lot for watching, guys. If you're new to the channel, feel free to hit subscribe if you want to see more Destiny content. Say hi on Twitter at xHOUNDISHx if you do the tweeting things. For now though, whatever you guys do, have an awesome day.